Let's dive into today's market moves a little bit more with Vanessa Martinez, Managing Director and Partner at the Lerner Group at Hightower Advisors. So Vanessa, markets right now, as we're seeing, doing really well and completely ignoring the bad news that we got a little bit earlier this morning from the jobs report. I'm wondering if, we are overemphasizing how disappointing the report was, or if this is really, again, just kind of more proof that this market has been totally disconnected from what we have been seeing in terms of some of the economic data, disconnected in terms of what we're seeing when it comes to this pandemic. What are your thoughts?
So I think if we look at the jobs numbers, they weren't as the market expected, right? They expected about 440 jobs to be created, and it was 245. But I don't think the market reacted negatively towards that because it is a lagging indicator, right? When we see other indicators that are actually leading, like housing and M&A activity, I feel that's what's projecting the market growth.
They do say, however, that the pride goes before the fall. And, the markets had been doing very, very well. We, of course, then saw a pullback in fall and in September and October as the markets really had gotten beaten up a little bit. I'm wondering if you think that possibly this could happen again here in a couple of months.
No, I feel that we have entered a turn now where we could see the breadth widening in the market. So when we look back towards September, we've seen that everybody was talking about tech, right? But then now, if you look at the difference between just the S&P index and the equal weighted S&P, you can see that it's spreading out now. And I think that's good. That's showing that all companies are moving in that direction. I know it gets a little scary because of the pandemic and so many other things going on, but we're definitely not at peak levels. We're recovering and going into expansion mode.
So speaking of that, looking at some of the sectors right now, we have energy, materials, and industrials right now leading. Energy, the leader on the day, up about 4 9/10 of a percentage point right now. As you're mentioning, everyone had been talking about tech, and we don't really seem to be talking about tech too much anymore. Instead, we're looking at all of those sectors that had really been getting beaten up over the course of this pandemic. I'm wondering how much more you think tech might come under pressure in 2021, especially once we do get that vaccine rolling out and folks do start getting vaccinated. And what sectors are you liking for next year?
I think things will level out. I don't think it'll be horrible for tech, but it will level out, which is good. It's nice to have kind of that balance. This year, we stuck more towards the barbell approach using large and small. That was the approach for this year. But as we see this widening, we know that yields, the rates are low right now. So you need to look for a place to make money. So we think we're slowly kind of tiptoe into some dividend stocks, even though this year they were out of favor. But as you just mentioned, things are changing. We're in rotation mode. So we're going to keep the barbell. Growth is definitely great, but we are going to move into a little bit of some dividend stocks.
I want to ask you about stimulus. We've been talking about it a lot over the last couple of days. It had been dead in the water, and now we have renewed hopes. The talks have been renewed, and we were asking, Michael Gapin about this a little bit earlier. He was kind of pointing to the fact that obviously, economic aid is still very much needed. But I'm wondering how the markets might react to the news of stimulus. We already see a lot of enthusiasm in the markets right now. I'm wondering how investors might react to that piece of news that a stimulus package, if we get one passed in the next couple of weeks.
I agree. I think the market will react well. Some of it is already priced in because we know it's going to happen. It's kind of what we're waiting for, right? So it'll either happen before end of year or in the beginning. But because of the stimulus and all the Fed has done to help, I think that positive outlook will just continue. Once it goes live, I'm sure we'll see a little bit of a boost, but overall just leveling out. We know it's going to happen.
All right, Vanessa Martinez from the Lerner Group at Hightower Advisors. Thanks so much for joining us today.